Alright, so this is the second tutorial, and this will follow, I think I'm just going to start up a Windows XP series. So we did it, so the first one before this was just like an on-site, get around the Windows XP password kind of thing, and things like that. So that was kind of fun. And that was just because I forgot the password to my old Windows XP computer that's sitting right over this way, and we will hack into this today. So what we're going to be using is Metasploit and a very popular exploit from Metasploit called MSO8. This was very popular. It works, and it's honestly a little bit surprising how many MS 2003 servers we have and things like that. So this is actually it's still a useful tool. It's just hopefully this will be eventually in 100% phased out in the future. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up a Metasploit console, and then we're just going to go through, and then we're just going to play out a little bit around in an interpreter session right afterwards, and we're going to see if we can maybe get like a virtual network connection or something. I don't know. It could be fun. So the first things first is I was going to do a whole huge hack into the Wi-Fi router I've had set aside for this thing and like all that, but turns out I do not have a Wi-Fi card that works, that has the right type of frequency generator to like use aircrack and things like that to break into the Wi-Fi network and things like that. So so I might have to I'm gonna have to buy one later, and then I'll probably do a redo of this video called going 100% or something like that. So what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna, just because we don't have the correct one, we're gonna go into the network. And so I call this one Find Me because it was gonna be hidden Wi-Fi. Like, this was supposed to be a whole thing on its own, but we're just gonna do this. So I'll put in the password, and then alright, we're connected. Alright, so at this point you have pretended like you've got into the network and things like that. So next what we're going to do is open up msfconsole, but first we need to get root permission so everything runs smoothly and runs properly. If you're using Kali Linux in a VM or an ARM image or things like that, usually you're already a root user. So we're using Peppermint 9, so we're going to be doing a little bit more extra steps. So first we're going to sudo -s your password, and trust me, even though you can't see it, it types in. It's annoying until you get used to it. Alright, msfconsole, and there is an install script. I will put a link in the description below for that, so you can get Metasploit on any Linux operating system you want, like Ubuntu, Linux Mint, Peppermint 9, which is what I'm using, which I prefer, or Raspbian for desktop if you really want to, things like that. And of course you can always just get Kali Linux or Parasect or Backbox, Ubuntu, which is, they're all just hacking operating systems and distros that you can geek out on and go through. Personally, if I had to choose one of those, I would go with Parasect, because the big advantage there is that it has a lot more tools. But if you want a lot more, if you're really a beginner and need a lot more support, go with Kali Linux, because that has the most tutorials on YouTube. Alright, now that this is up, let's actually get into this thing. So because I've used this before, I'm just going to be pressing back to just pull up old commands. But this is the command you use to get into it. So what it is an exploit in Metasploit, and it was found in 2008, and it was the 67th patch of Windows XP. Basically, it was like one of the last few things they did before they kind of said, you know what, we're going to go Windows 7, and then rest in peace Windows 7, and because that's going to be gone in I think a year now. So Windows XP has this huge vulnerability in it, and most of it's gotten patched up a little bit at least, but it's still out there. So you can still pop a lot of boxes with this exploit. So you just press it after you type that in, you press enter, and then you gotta set your target host, the RHOST, and because I don't want to take all the time to do nmap scans, and I will have a whole tutorial on the plus side for that, and I will show you even cute little tools that make it better, and you can do a little bit extra things that aren't inside Nmap. So since I have physical access to the computer, I just typed in ipconfig into the command prompt, and we got this IP address. Alright, and I put one too many S's. There you go. And so set LHOST. Now this is your computer and all that. So if you're using Peppermint, just right click new tab, ifconfig. And so this is it. Alright, so that's all you really need to set up. It has automatic destinations for the ports that it will be communicating on. So now all you have to do is type exploit. Simple enough, right? Now hopefully it runs. I might have to run it a couple times because when people usually do the tutorials, they're using VMs and things like that, so it's a little bit more guaranteed you'll have a actual connection kind of thing. See, this is, and so it rejected it, but we don't cry about it. So what we're going to do is we're going to see what exactly happened, what went wrong, and then fix. Because we do want this to work, and we want it to work beautifully. So just to make sure I had the right IP address on there. Alright, we have the correct one here. Make sure we're actually connected to the right network. I've done that a couple times. Alright, you know what? We're just going to test run to make sure this exploit is still. It is being a little turd about it. I can see that. Alright, so what we're going to. So, I'm going to pause the video, and maybe it might just be a connection, something loose, and then I'll restart the video in just a second. So funny enough, what the problem was, which may sound ridiculous, was I actually did not have I did not have the computer full, like the Ethernet cord between it and the router was not connected. So I don't know how it was giving me an IP address to begin with, or it must have happened at some point. I must have hit it with my foot or something. I don't know. Anyways, so this is what you should get as a pop-up for when it fully connects. And and then you get your interpreter shell. And you can do a lot of post-exploitation stuff with this. I'm going to put a link in the description for even some of the most basic things, but we're going to see if we can run a virtual network connection. A virtual network connection allows you to see the GUI, the graphical user interface of the desktop, and then you can just use it like it's on your own computer. So how you do that is run VNC, and it should set up a payload manager to do that. And so we're going to see if it actually works. Sometimes, especially with these older computers and things like that, and older software, they don't always want to cooperate when you do that. And in fact, it might shut down your interpreter shell, and you might have to go through this all over again. See, it did not go like it should have. But we can still see a lot of information from this computer. So if you type in ipconfig, you get all the network information that's on that computer. And you can see the exact driver of its interface and its IP address, all of that. And another thing we can do, so if you type help, you get a lot more commands. But what you can do is, I think it's sysinfo, system info. There is a way to grab the system information, but I cannot remember it to save my life right now. And so these are the other commands that you can do, is cd, change a directory. You can go through, you can download, upload files, and that's where you would work on post-exploitation. Post-exploitation would be getting an extra payload or backdoor to go up into up into the box or whatever you hacked into. Preferably, what you would like to do is have a backdoor that they cannot detect. You can use applications like Fat Rat and things like that to work the backdoors. But just for time's sake, I'm not going to go over those. But now you have a basic understanding of how to get into Windows XP. Next I'll put out a Windows 7 exploitation video, and then a Windows 10 exploitation tool video, and then I think I'll start exploring Linux and Mac OS. But just to get these exploitation videos out in this series, and then we'll go over more post-exploitation tools and things like that after this series. So thank you for watching episode 1 of the exploitation series. We got Windows XP, and I think just to have a lot of fun here, oh, that's the sysinfo, so now we have all the information about it. But just to have a little bit of fun here, what we can do is type in hash dump, and now we have all the passwords. So there. So now we have all the passwords that belong on that computer. So we have the administrator and the guest and the help support. So we have all those hashes. We can figure that out. And then I'll put that, we'll use this later in our password cracking video. I'll do at some point in the future. So this is fun. So this has been fun, and we'll do more next week in the second video, how to hack Windows 7. Doksha.